Hi boys and girls, it's Miss Krause, and today we're going to continue working with line plots. So for today's assignment, you have 4 different slides, and I'm going to do the same thing I did for you yesterday. We're going to get you off to a start on each one of them, and then you're going to finish them off. Looking at this first slide, it's saying, look at the line plot and fill in the missing numbers. So we have 2 different line plots. You can notice that they both have the whole numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But then they're split up with different fractions. So our job is to figure out which fraction we will be using and then determine the labels for A, B, C, D, E, and F. Let's look over here. Between 0 and 1, we have one line, and it splits it into 2 sections. It splits it right in half. So I know when it's split into 2 pieces, we're working with the fraction half. Okay? So I find A, and it's right after that whole number 1, and it's not quite to the 2 yet. So it's still going to be 1, and I'm going to type that and then give myself a space. So I'm at the 1 and I do 1 hop, so 1 and 1/2. In order to write the fraction half, I'm going to do the number 1, I'm going to do the slash, which is your question mark key, and the number 2. Now, thinking back to when we first started fractions, remember the top number is how many hops we did. We did 1 hop. Now the bottom number is how many pieces there were. There was 2 pieces. So 1 and 1/2 is our answer. My hint to you here is the only fraction that you will be using is the half. Looking at the next number line, we have more sections. So we first need to figure out which fraction we're working with. Let's count our pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. That means we're working with fourths. Okay, so when we're working with these fractions, we're going to have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Those are our choices. Okay, in order to do 3/4, I'm doing the 3 slash and then a 4. I did 3 hops, 1, 2, 3, and I know there's 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one I didn't have a whole number because it was after the 0, but it wasn't quite to the 1 yet. Okay, so for the green line plot, your choices are going to be 1/4, 2/4, or 3/4 for the fractions, and then figure out that whole number. Let's look at the next slide. Measurement line plots whole numbers. Measure each line segment, then plot the measurement on the line. So the first thing we have to do for each one of these is figure out how long the line segment is. Now this slide doesn't come out and tell us that we're working with inches, but since these are rulers, we're going to say we're working with inches. Looking at this first one, I see that the line segment goes all the way to the 4, so I know that that line measures 4 inches. After I figure out how long the line segment is, I have to plot it on my line segment line plot down here. And it tells me, if we look at the key, each x equals 1 measurement. So I just had a measurement for 4 inches. I'm going to take my x and I'm going to drag it to the 4 and I'm going to place it right over there to show that. Let's look at the next one. For this line segment, it goes all the way to the 5. So I'm going to type my answer. 5 inches. I'm going to make sure I include that label. And then I have to take my x and plot 1 above the 5. Awesome. I'm going to do one more with you for this. This third one measures 4 inches. I'm going to type in 4 inches. Now, I already have 1 above the 4, so I need to make sure when I take my x, I plot it right above as neat as I can, because I want to stack them going nice and neat up as we go. All right, so you only have a few more left on this slide. Go ahead and measure the line, type in your answer how long it is, and then plot it on your line plot with the x. Next page. Make a line plot. Kelly started an online cookie business. Each day she sells a few orders of cookies. Below are the number of orders that she received over 2 weeks. Plot the daily orders on the line plot. So here at the top we have all the orders. These are our data numbers. And then down here we see x equals 1 order, and we have 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then our x is over here that we're going to use to plot. So my advice for you for the next 2 slides is to start at the left and work your way over. So I'm going to start at the number 8. I need to decide how many number 8s there are. So let's count. 1, 2, 3. So I know that if each x equals 1 order, I need to do 3 x's over that number 8. Now remember, I'm going to try my best to make them as neat as possible, stack them up. All right, so you're going to do the same thing for numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12. Figure out how many orders there were with that number, and then use the X over here to finish the line plot. Okay. 10 families went to Mrs. Hucklebee's apple farm. Each family picks apples to fill a bag. Below are the weights of each bag. Plot them on the line plot. We're going to do the exact same thing that we just did on the last slide, but this time we have fractions. So, looking at our line plot, the fractions are not labeled for us. But just like on that very first line plot, remember up here, we were working with halves because there were 2 pieces. Well, down on this one, I'm noticing in between each whole number, there's 2 pieces. So we're going to be working with that same fraction of half. So just counting with me real quick, see if you can stay with me. 12, 12 and a half, 13, 13 and a half, 14, 14 and a half, 15, 15 and a half, 16, 16 and a half, and 17. Looking at my key, I see that each X is the weight of 1 bag of apples. So I'm going to start at 12. How many 12 are there? I don't want the 12 and a half yet. I just want the 12. Oh, there's 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know that there's 4. I'm going to take my X's and I'm going to stack 4 nicely above. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now, next I have 12 and a half. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3. Okay, looks like I have 3 of those. Grab my X. 1, 2, and 3. All right. I can move these down just a little bit so that they're nice and neatly organized, which doesn't have to be perfect, just do your best. I know those X's can be a little tricky sometimes. All right, so then you are going to go ahead and you're going to finish the rest of this page and the other slides, just a few questions on each slide. And then when you are finished, do not forget to press that blue turn in button, and then we will check your work and return it to you. Have a great day.